What's going on, guys? Reaper here, and welcome to Reaper's Papa-san Supply. So today we're going to take a look at probably one of my all-time coolest orders, and that is the Aircrewman chicken plate body armor vest that was made for the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor. Now, I made not one, but two of these vests for an upcoming exhibit that they were having made at the time.
Squadron 1161. Roger, check 3.
Now, since this project was a couple years ago, I no longer have the vests in my possession, but that's no worry, guys. I actually made sure to get some video footage of the vests before sending them out. Now, you'll notice there's a few things that's not 100% on these vests, such as some of the nylon or the coloring, as well as the Velcro and the coloring of the Velcro as well. And the reason for that is the final use of these vests was something pretty unique and ultimately just wasn't going to matter, as it was never going to be seen.
Alright guys, so something you'll notice right off the bat with this is the center pocket that they made for these usually come in a little bit of a lighter nylon, almost kind of a yellowish type green or OD instead of this real dark nylon type OD. So that was one of the things I could substitute with the color on these to go ahead and get it put together. Now down here I did the waist closures pretty much exactly like the original, and that's where you're going to see that white Velcro that I had to substitute because I had a very limited number of OD green. They come with the exact same button snaps. So one thing with this project that I actually had to do, guys, since the original vests, when they come around the back side to mate and connect with the front portion of the plate system, is that the waist tabs and sides here, so they had an elastic webbing basically about the same width as this, upper and lower here, so when you'd pull your waist strap tight, it would allow it to keep it a lot tighter like this. So on both sides they would have that. That's something I didn't have in stock to use, and that's what I had to substitute, was basically just use standard OD webbing. Now that's not a big deal again for this project. It's something you're never going to notice or see when it comes to this vest, but that's one of those things I had to do here. And oftentimes if you got an original one, especially 60s or 70s dated, they tend to, you know, with a lot of use and wear, just age, that elastic kind of, it stretches out and it doesn't retain its elasticity anymore. So up here, that's another thing I had to substitute, is the type of webbing and color visually, and for what this is going to be used for. That's something, again, you're never going to notice or see.
Now, while it's no secret that I had actually reached out to see if there was any interest in reproducing the Aircrewman vests, up until that point I had done absolutely no R&D and no patterning work for the vests, as I had not expected to do anything with them for quite a while. Now, when the MPHHH initially contacted me with the possibility of producing these vests, we had a phone meeting, and then pretty much immediately after that, I went ahead and jumped right into patterning, since we were given roughly a 2-week time period from greenlit to shipment on 2 of them from complete scratch. And that created a pretty interesting situation for the task at hand, especially since halfway through I had the machine I was using completely crap out on me, and trying to find one close or semi-close, especially with everything that was going on in the world at the time, was nearly impossible. But I did happen to find and track one down in the city and went and picked that up. But unfortunately, on the way back from everything, got in a car accident and messed up my shoulder to the point that it was almost not usable, especially trying to run a sewing machine and work on this project. But managed to pull through the whole thing and get this thing done in the proper time frame that was expected of delivery.
I did go ahead and do all the reinforcement stitching and just added everything together. Now, originally when I took the contract to make these, my plan was to just give a visual mock-up basically. And instead, when I got to putting it together, making all the patterns and figuring out the size for what they need for this project, I just basically decided to go through and make it exactly the way it needs to be made, sans a few internal bits and pieces that, again, you're never going to see, and it's not going to make a difference. So this one here actually has, obviously, fake plate system that'll be a lot lighter than mine, but it's just there to give it the shape, the bulk, and everything else. So here's a better look at the vest from the inside and taken apart in the two halves, and this will kind of give you guys an idea of what I was talking about when I had to do a few other little things. So internally, you have some structural things that are done to make sure these don't come apart, which is right about in this area where my thumb is on the inside. That's something that I didn't add in the vest. There was no point in it. And then here, same thing here, as when I built this for the shoulder pads and connectors and everything else, I went ahead and did it exactly like an original chicken plate. Same thing with the reinforcement in the back part of it. I put everything together the way that it was supposed to be put together. Same thing with the shoulder pads, waist tabs, you name it. As you can see here, obviously the originals too, they have that waist closure for the bottom of the vest, so you can add or remove the plates at will, or as needed, I guess. Again, this is the example. This is what I had left over, and green Velcro. So basically my whole plan was, when working on this first one, was to put it all together and make it as visually, aesthetically pleasing to you guys, especially as to the client. So that way you guys that have been really super interested in these and would love me to go ahead and make these, this gives you something to kind of oogle and drool over.
Now let's go ahead and take a look at how these vests initially wound up getting used. Now I actually sent the vests off to the build team that was making life-size figures, a pilot and a door gunner, for the exhibit, and the final end result was that everything wound up getting bronzed and placed into this Huey helicopter exhibit in the museum. And if you ask me, that's pretty awesome. So the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor is actually located in New Windsor, New York. So if you happen to be in or near the area at any time, be sure to check it out, man. Stop in, give them a visit, and absolutely, if you see the exhibit, let me know, because I would love to hear about it. Now, one question I'm pretty sure that many of you are wondering is, are we ever going to actually reproduce the Aircrewman body armor? And to give you guys a pretty good answer to that question is, well, I think the answer is going to be very exciting to you guys. However, we'll save that for a completely different video in the future. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of cool customer orders, and if you guys think we should go ahead and do a run or reproduce the Aircrewman body armor, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. Anyway guys, as always, stay frosty, and we'll see you on your next tour.